Good afternoon. It's now 2:25 p.m. I'd like to lift the suspension of the rules and we resume our inaugural session. Madam Secretary, we proceed to we proceed with item number 4. Reading. Roman numeral number 4.
Referral, sir.
Reading and approval. Reading and approval.
Of the previous session, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes, Sangguniang Bayan member de la Cueva.
Thank you, sir. May I move to defer the approval of the minutes of our previous session, Mr. Presiding Officer, because we do not have yet the copy of it. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Do I hear a second? The reading of the minutes of the previous session is hereby deferred. Next, we go to the first reading and referral to the committees concerned of proposed ordinances, resolutions, communications, petitions, messages, and memorials. First item, Madam Secretary.
A resolution adopting Resolution Number 40, Series of 2019, adopting the internal rules of procedure for the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur to govern temporarily the internal rules of procedure of the 11th Sanggunian until a new internal rules of procedure is adopted for 2022 to 2025.
The first item for consideration of the Sangguniang Bayan, which is very essential to the proper management of our sessions and affairs in the Sangguniang Bayan, is the adoption of a temporary internal rules of procedure. I will refer this matter to the former Vice Chairman, Chairperson of the Committee on Rules, Sangguniang Bayan member Encarnita de la Cueva.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. For this matter, Mr. Presiding Officer, may I move then for the adoption and approval of the internal rules of procedure of the previous sets of councilors for us, the new sets of councilors, to adopt and practice the same, Mr. Presiding Officer, while waiting for the inclusions to the said IRP, Mr. Presiding Officer.
There's a motion from Sangguniang Bayan de la Cueva to immediately adopt the current or the existing internal rules of procedure to temporarily govern the internal affairs of this Sangguniang Bayan. Do I hear a second?
I second, Mr. President.
Motion duly seconded. The motion is approved. Next item, Madam Secretary.
Discussion on the Sangguniang Bayan Committee Chairmanship, sir.
Okay. We now go to the discussion of Sangguniang Bayan Committee chairmanships. A few weeks ago, after the online training of the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, we had an opportunity to discuss the committee chairmanships. And there's only one change, no? There's only one amendment to the proposal, which is to give to the Liga ng Barangay President the chairmanship of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction and Management. So I would like to, and as agreed, the committee chairpersons shall have the liberty to choose their members and probably select who shall be the vice chairperson of that committee. So I will read. So you have a copy of the list of committee chairmanship, and I will read it again. For Sangguniang Bayan, Eugene Borge, the Committee on Finance, Budget, and Appropriation. Second, Committee on Ways and Means. Third, Committee on Agriculture. Do you accept?
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
For Sangguniang Bayan, Member Clay Benedict Formoso, Committee on Health and Sanitation. Second, Committee on Social Services. And third, there's two. Committee on Health and Sanitation, and number two, Committee on Social Services. Do you accept?
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Okay. For Sangguniang Bayan Member Domingo Ritua, Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. Second, Committee on Housing and Land Utilization. And third, Committee on Trade, Industry, and Labor. Do you accept?
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you. For Sangguniang Bayan Member Encarnita de la Cueva, first, Committee on Education. Second, Committee on Gender, Equality, and Family. We made a revision on the title. Gender equality here means the men, women, LGBTQ, and family. And third, the Committee on Rules, Privileges, Ordinances, and Legal Matters. Do you accept?
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you. For Sangguniang Bayan Member David Biado, Committee on Public Order and Safety and Human Rights.
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Sangguniang Biado. For Sangguniang Bayan Member Benedicto Burguño, Committee on the Protection of Environment and Natural Resources. Number two, Committee on Tourism. And number three, Committee on Good Governance, Public Ethics, and Accountability. Do you accept, Sangguniang Bayan Member?
I accept, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Sangguniang Burguño. For Sangguniang Bayan Member Purisima Billones, you have first, the Committee on Cooperative, Livelihood, and Accreditation of Non-Government Organization. And second, the Committee on Senior Citizens and Religious Affairs. Do you accept, ma'am? Thank you very much, Sangguniang Bayan Member Billones. For Sangguniang Bayan Member Mariano Umipig Jr., you shall have the Committee on Transportation. Do you accept, sir?
I accept, sir.
Thank you very much, Sangguniang Bayan Member Umipig. For the Liga ng Barangay President, Percival Carrion, you shall have the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction and Management and the Committee on Barangay Affairs. Do you accept, sir?
I will, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you very much, Liga ng Barangay President. And for the PPSK President, Justine Thea B. Melagrito, you shall have the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
I accept, sir.
Thank you very much, PPSK President. And in compliance with the previous policies set by the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur, the Liga ng Barangay President and the PPSK shall be included in the other committees as members, so that they can properly contribute in the proper in the formulation of more relevant and more effective policies and programs to be implemented by the local government unit of Santa Ilocos Sur. Will someone move for the approval of the committee chairmanships?
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes, Sangguniang Bayan David Biago.
I move for the approval of the committee chairmanship, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Do I hear a second? The motion duly seconded. The committee chairmanships is hereby approved. Okay. Next item, Madam Secretary.
The discussion on the schedule of the Sangguniang Bayan regular sessions.
Next item for discussion is the schedule of our regular sessions. So our regular session for 2019 to 2022 falls on a Monday. 9 o'clock a.m. So, anyati kaya tatang aldaw, ken oras, dagiti kakadwa tayo iti Sangguniang Bayan.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Sangguniang Bayan Member Benedicto Burguño, you are recognized.
Mr. Presiding Officer, motion to retain the schedule and adopt the regular session as scheduled Monday at 9 a.m., Mr. Presiding Officer.
I second, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Okay. We want to retain the same day and time of our regular session. So the regular session, the weekly regular session of the Sangguniang Bayan of Santa Ilocos Sur shall be conducted Mondays, 9 a.m. in the morning. 9 a.m. nga, in the morning. Okay. So, under the IRP, first Monday of the month, we usually use the long barong, no? Or a formal barong, which unfortunately during the pandemic was suspended, no? Because of course, number one, we conducted most of our sessions online, and during the on-site sessions, when the restrictions were a bit okay na, forgiving, we chose to use the uniform. No? Use the uniform. Okay. Do we have any other matters for consideration of the Sangguniang Bayan? No more?
Mr.
So
Presiding Officer,
we
have
can
the
proceed to unfinished business. None. Business for the day. None. No unassigned business. And no measures on third reading. Sangguniang Bayan Member Ritwa.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. With the consideration of this august body, Mr. Presiding Officer, may I enter a resolution regarding a resolution earnestly requesting to Honorable Provincial Governor Jeremiah Singson, Province of Ilocos Sur, to cause the allocation of 20 million fund from the ROA 7171 for the installation of the water tank and generator at Barasibis, Mabilibilasor, Santa Ilocos Sur, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Okay. Since we are introducing a new item not included in our agenda, is there any objection to the inclusion? None. There being none, we can properly discuss it then. There's a motion from Sangguniang Bayan Member Domingo Ritwa to pass a resolution requesting the Honorable Governor Jerry Singson for the mentioned amount for the construction or establishment of a water reservoir, water facility at Barangay Barasibis, Santa Ilocos Sur. Do I hear a second? This was, I think, discussed a while ago before Governor Jerry Singson left the municipio. So, hearing a second to the motion is approved.
Mr. Presiding Officer, sir.
Sangguniang Bayan Member David Biado, you are
May
recognized.
we include the Banawang water reservoir, sir. So,
Okay. As to what specific amount, I think we have to discuss that. But okay, we will include that. Any objections? None? Okay, there's a motion from Sangguniang Bayan Member David Biado to pass a similar resolution for the construction or the improvement of the Banari water system. The resolution addressed to the Governor, the Honorable Governor Jerry Singson. Do I hear a second? Motion duly seconded. The motion is approved.
Mr. Presiding Officer,
Sangguniang Bayan Member Benedicto
in connection
Borgoño.
with the request of our colleagues, may we also include the rehabilitation of the Agay Ayos Reservoir.
Okay. I think we're taking the... okay. There's a motion from Sangguniang Bayan Member Benedicto Borgoño for a similar request resolution for the Agay Ayos. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'd like to request the SB Secretary to prepare the resolutions. No? Kindly coordinate with the Sangguniang Bayan members who made the proposal and of course, you have to coordinate also with the municipal engineer as to the cost estimates. Thank you. So, there being no other items left in today's agenda, do we have any announcements? It's our inaugural session, and usually during the inaugural session, only the rules, the committee chairmanships, and the schedule are discussed. But of course, the members of the Sangguniang Bayan can freely discuss or include any other items as long as there is no objection to the inclusion of a new agenda. Any announcements? Okay.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes, Sangguniang Bayan member Borge.
We will include the district councilors.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me, Madam Secretary. Thank you for reminding me, Sangguniang Bayan member Borge. For the district councilors, no? Anya ti agreement tayo. 1 year. Da reshuffling na. Ta makapasyar kay amin ya. Okay, or you can request anytime, no? Okay. For Banari, Banawang Namalangan Rizal, Sangguniang Bayan member David Biado.
Noted, sir.
For Saksakam, Sakuya Norte, Sakuya Sur, Ampandula, Sangguniang Bayan member Baby de la Cueva.
Yes, sir.
For Nabakama, Nagpanawan, Basug, Kabangaran, and Manueva, Sangguniang Bayan member Puring Bilyones. For Mamala, Mabilbila Norte, Mabilbila Sur, and Labut Norte, Sangguniang Bayan Eugene Borge.
Noted, sir.
For Lamama, Labut Sur, Marcos Magsaysay, Sangguniang Bayan member Benny Borgunyo. For Kekipa, Sangguniang Bayan member Kekipa, Quezon, Quirino, Pasungol, Sangguniang Bayan member June Umipig. For Butakaka, Bukalag, Tabukulan, Kalungbuyan, Kasiber, Sangguniang Bayan member Doming Ritua. For Raordam, Rancho, Oribi, Damay, Sangguniang Bayan member Clay Formoso.
Noted, sir.
So, okay tayo sa district. Okay. I highly advise, no? I highly recommend our district councilors, no, our Sangguniang Bayan members to visit your districts. Especially that we are preparing for the new ELA, new Executive Legislative Agenda. Take this opportunity while we are still at the pre-ELA stage to meet, visit, convene, discuss, talk with the punang barangays, with the barangay councils, with the NGOs, daycare workers, BHW, TANOD, BNS, no, RIC, Kabataan, no, PWD, and other organizations or other stakeholders in those barangays. Yeah. Okay. Ken, praktisan nyo tag notebook kasi nubduma, no addaday di ipatangda, when tayo nga malipatan tayo. Always i-type nyo yung cellphone nyo. At the notepad, naka-smartphone kayo mo't amin. Yaka mo ni Sangguniang Bayan, June, no, naka-smartphone, tada Facebook na. So, at the notepad ta cellphone nyo, no, at the ipatangda, no, awan tip ballpen kan papelyo, ikabil yung notepad nyo. No, very, kanay nga most usar na yung notepad ko kanya. Okay. So, we're done. Any announcements? Sangguniang Bayan member Bilyones, you are recognized. Microphone.
A resolution regarding the construction of the creek at Kabangaran and Manuel.
Nalpasen na Sangguniang Bilyones. It was passed actually last regular session, authored by the Liga ng Barangay President Percival Carrion and former SBM member Marino Burgos.
Thank you, Presiding.
Okay. Again, we have until 2025, no? So, dawat ko lang, han nga day indarasan nga ordinansa or resolution. Adalan tayo nga nalaing. Ya, kitaan tayo no dagiti nga ordinansa wenno resolusyon ket mayan natok matlaeng iti kasapulan tiili tayo nga santa ken dagiti Santinians. Haan nga day agkopkopya tayo lang gapot adda kasjay nga baro nga ordinansa iti sabali nga ili. Ya. In fact, ti may nga rekomendasyon ko datoy ket natantan. I have been requesting the review or the revision of our Code of General Ordinances. It's been, I think, planned but postponed twice already. No, twice already. But if we can do that, if we can review, we can revise our Code of General Ordinances. Perhaps some of the existing ordinances that we passed already can be integrated in that Code of General Ordinances. Ti may nga napintas tatta is the implementation of new technologies in the Sangguniang Bayan. So the Sangguniang Bayan Secretary and the staff are currently digitizing copies of our ordinances and resolutions which can be easily accessed using our software. We have an application. No? Haan nga rin narigat nga agbirbiro ken. No? So nadaras lang. Makita pa yun anya dagiti topics, no, sino ti author, anya ti status na no committee level pa ikadaglalaog. So, dayjay. And nangigantay matatay di diskurso ni Apo Mayor and he identified 4 priority programs for this term in addition to the existing programs that he wants to finish. Na, pinanagalan na iti Santa Star. Santa Star. First is social investments, no? And that covers programs, projects, activities, policies pertaining to health, education, and social services. And I think within the first 100 days, I think we will be able to help him accomplish his goal by through the passage of the municipal social pension program for solo parents. Nairan-ran na talaga. I know that there was a pending bill then, no? Regarding the expansion of the benefits of solo parents. And just a few days ago, it lapsed into law. No, it lapsed into law. So we now have a new law expanding the benefits to be received by solo parents. And the ordinance, no, if approved by the Sangguniang Bayan Santa, would complement that national law. No? And it goes in line with one of the identified priority programs and policies of Mayor Jesus Bueno Jr. Number 2, under the under social investment is the review of the existing health and governance mechanisms of our RHU Santa. Because of the Mandanas ruling, we have greater income. But of course, as I mentioned a week ago, 2023 budget will pose a challenge for all LGUs because of the reduction of the IRA. But there's an opportunity for us to review and further enhance the governance and the financing mechanism of our health programs. Maybe we can streamline, or perhaps we can enter into better partnerships with the provincial or private hospitals or diagnostic centers. No? And of course, as what we experienced during the pandemic, there is a need to really capacitate and enhance our partners in the barangay health workers, the barangay responders. No? Then lastly, for social investments is our literacy rate and comprehension rate as reported by Ma'am Grace Adviento. No? There's a need to improve. No? As reported, i-report ni Ma'am Grace Adviento, bagsak dagitoy Santa learners ti reading comprehension. So we need to create effective interventions to improve, no, the reading skills and of course comprehension of our Santa learners. So that's social investment. Number 2, he mentioned transportation. Kanain tayo nga mabasa iti Facebook, kan talaga nga ririmat ng ti taga Santa. No, gapu iti bagatan, dagiti taga Santa Kuma, agpabigan, awan unit ti pagluganan da naglalo ti bigat. At ano lumabas dagiti lugan, agapu iti bagatan na punumeten. No, panag-aawidan met, dagibdo mga naluluko nga PUB, handa kahit nga ilugan ti taga Santa, at ti pletela ang ti taga Santa, 40, 45. Kumpara na gijay Santa Maria, Honor na Bakan. So, handa nung dumakayat nga ilugan. Yeah. Ngem, under the local government code, a local government unit can engage in other local economic enterprises. So, we should think outside of the box. Since there's a need to improve public transportation, and there's a need for the local government unit to increase revenues to sustain our current programs and perhaps create more programs, no? I think it's time for us to study, no? It's time for us to conduct an in-depth study of the LGU entering the transport system in partnership with our local transport operators, no? Next, STA, Agriculture and Aquaculture. No? I share the aspirations of President Marcos of providing quality and affordable rice for all Filipino households and family. And for the LGU Santa to partner with the national government in realizing that goal, I think it's incumbent on the local government unit of Santa and for us in the Sangguniang Bayan to support targeted programs. No? Targeted programs. Let's not distribute the money without thinking. No? Without thinking the outputs. No? Without thinking of or without checking the outputs to be delivered by the recipient of the fund. So unlike before that we've been benevolent in distributing or allocating funds, we will be more discriminating so that we can guarantee that the recipient of government funds will deliver the outputs required. No, the outputs required. Kasi baka kasla tayo lang ang ibalbal lang iti kwarta, nga handamat nga ag-deliver. So, nita-target tayo that we should produce, for example, 100 kabans of rice. Ngam dahil yun ay kanti assistance or subsidy, ket nag-produce lang iti 20 kabans of rice. Masapol nga, kitaan tayo, no kasi dyan nga paulit-ulit ubranan, ikatan tayo. And ipantayo iti sa balin nga programan, sa balin nga beneficiary. Kasi, para kanya tayo, nga basit lang iti share na iti RA 7171, numasayang dagijeng oportunidad, haan tayon nga, awan iti pangsupusup tayo para iti sa balin nga programa. And of course, for the aquaculture, it's been a long dream of mine to see a very progressive aquaculture industry kuma dito'y Santa. We had various, we tried propagating sea urchins in Sitio San Jose. But the strong typhoons, strong waves, nadadael. We tried introducing oyster dito'y Pasungol Bukalag. Ngem nadalos sa unay di danom. So nga hansang agbyag ngamin titiram no nadalos iti danom. I don't know, hindi ako expert no. Pero umad-adumat na ito agtatarakan iti tilapia. Umad-adumat na ito agtatarakan iti sa balipay nga ikan. So perhaps we can look, no, the Sangguniang Bayan can look how to increase assistance to those who have established themselves as productive aquaculture producers. Okay. And lastly, R, revenue generation and management. Okay. Revenue generation and management, for information of the members of the Sangguniang Bayan and to our viewers, no, and to our listeners, for 3 years, we failed to reach our revenue collection targets. Anya ti epekto na if we failed to, and we understand that it's because of the pandemic, no? But if we continue to experience deficit in revenue collection, then it will affect our annual budget. No, it will affect our annual budget, and later on, of course, the appropriations for our programs. Iso nga no kayat tayo nga isustener dagito social programs tayo. Ken kayat tayo nga suportaran ti adupay nga sa moruno nga programa. Masapol nga rod nga patibkeran kuma dagiti kakadwa ta iti barangay iti panag-implement dayjay umuna dagiti awan ti business permit na nga tiyandaan. We need to protect small, micro, small, medium enterprises that religiously comply with their annual business permits, BIR, etc. No, if we do not penalize or if we do not punish, if we do not restrict the unregistered nga businesses, baka agpunto dagijay license or registered kandan tumat nga agristron. May kadua, dakkel nga porsyento, dakkel nga pukaw para iti SEF tayo, ken iti pundo iti barangay ken munisipyo, jay unrealized payment iti real property taxes. If we can collect even 75, at least 75% of the targeted annual revenue collection, dakkel nga banag dayjay. It will actually help in the implementation of our interventions for our Santanian learners. Kasi remember, I would like to remind everyone that 1% kada taon nga agbaybayad tayo, iti amilyar tayo. Adda makulkolekta nga 1% special education fund. Nga mapan kadagiti is eskwela ken ubing tayo dito'y Santa School District. So it's important, no, to maintain or to improve our revenue collection and of course manage any properties or assets of the local government unit. Okay, that's STAR. Ulita, social investment, transportation, agriculture, aquaculture, and lastly, resource generation and management. So, ado iti mabalintang aramidan. No? Importante lang, dumngag tayo, agpaliut tayo. Ken pagpanunutan tayo nga nalaing, dagiti aramidan tayo nga ordinansa, resolution, pulisiya. Yeah? So, any announcements? Any other announcements? I know medyo nagdiskurso na kon. I think it's my obligation to set the tone of the Sangguniang Bayan, no, for the next 3 years. Next 3 years. Okay. If there are no more announcements, there being no other items left in today's inaugural session, I would like to declare this inaugural session adjourned. Session adjourned. Good afternoon.